11. Fritos. Plain or chili cheese. Fried corn strips with a simple, understated flavor. The plain version was just corn and salt. The chili cheese version added more personality. Fritos were inexpensive and filling. You could buy a large bag for very little, and it would last through several sharing sessions. Kids would eat them straight from the bag or crush them into a cup and pour chili on top for a makeshift meal. Fritos represented resourcefulness and creative eating. A bag of Fritos plus borrowed chili from somewhere became lunch. The simplicity of the snack meant it worked in almost any situation. In communities where improvisation was a life skill, Fritos were a perfect match. Flexible, affordable, and infinitely combinable with other available foods. 12. Chee-Tos. Puffy, cheese-flavored corn puffs that dissolved on your tongue and left orange residue everywhere. The challenge with Chee-Tos was managing the dust. You'd open a bag and your fingers would immediately turn orange. This meant everyone knew you'd been eating Chee-Tos, which created a kind of conspiratorial bond among kids with orange fingers. Some kids would try to lick their fingers clean before school. Most would just own it. Chee-Tos were indulgent in a straightforward way. They weren't trying to be anything other than what they were: junk food that tasted good. In a world that often told Black kids they should want less, should take up less space, the unapologetic orangeness of Chee-Tos was a small act of rebellion. Chee-Tos didn't try to be invisible. Funyuns. Fried onion rings, crunchy and intensely flavored, creating a distinctive smell that clung to your breath and fingers. Funyuns was social currency with a twist. Kids would either love them or avoid them. Those who did love them loved them fiercely. The smell was so distinctive that if you'd eaten Funyuns, everyone knew. This created a self-selecting community of Funyun lovers. Funyuns represented individuality and the courage to like something that wasn't universally loved. In peer-conscious adolescence, eating Funyuns was a quiet way of saying, "I like what I like, and I'm not apologizing for my breath." The distinctive flavor also made Funyuns memorable. Decades later, people remember eating Funyuns and the joy associated with them more vividly than blander snacks. 14. Corn nuts. Crunchy, fried corn kernels coated in seasoning. They were hard, dangerously hard, and could potentially break a tooth if you weren't careful. Corn nuts required commitment. You couldn't just mindlessly eat them, you had to focus. The crunch was so loud, it felt almost aggressive. There was something satisfying about the challenge. They were a snack for serious chewers. Corn nuts taught persistence and willingness to work for reward. They were also a test of toughness. Who could crunch the loudest? Who could finish the bag fastest without breaking a tooth? This created a kind of competitive play that was safe but intense. Corn nuts also made a statement. I'm not afraid of a difficult snack. I'm not looking for easy consumption. 15. Chee-Tos Puffs. Cheese-flavored puffs that were lighter and airier than regular Chee-Tos, almost dissolving on your tongue. Chee-Tos Puffs were luxurious compared to the crunchier version. They felt premium because they literally dissolved rather than crunching. Kids felt they were eating something special, even though the price was often the same or cheaper. Chee-Tos Puffs represented the idea that texture matters as much as flavor. A kid could demonstrate taste and sophistication by preferring Puffs to regular Cheetos. It was a small way of developing personal aesthetic. The lightness also meant you could eat more of them, which created the illusion of abundance. 16. Bugles. Cone-shaped cornmeal snacks that were light, crunchy, and somehow fun just based on their shape. They came plain, cheese, or chili flavored. The cone shape was the whole appeal. You could put them on your fingertips like claws or stick them on your front teeth like vampire fangs. The play value was as high as the nutritional value was low. This transformed snack time into playtime. Bugles proved that form and function could be inseparable from fun and imagination. A kid with a bag of Bugles wasn't just eating, they were creating stories, performing, entertaining their friends. The affordability meant nearly every kid could participate in this shared imaginative play. Bugles democratized creativity. 17. Pork rinds, chicharrones. Deep-fried pork skin, crispy and protein-rich, often sold in the convenience stores and bodegas of Black neighborhoods. Pork rinds were practical. They were cheap, lasted forever, literally didn't expire quickly, and satisfied hunger in a real way. They weren't sugary, so they didn't create the guilt that candy did. A kid eating pork rinds felt like they were getting a genuine snack, not junk. Pork rinds connected kids to the resourcefulness of their community and heritage. Nothing was wasted. Every part of the animal was used and celebrated. Eating pork rinds was a connection to generations of culinary wisdom that made something delicious out of what might otherwise be discarded. It was cultural continuity in a bag. 18. Chex Mix, homemade and store-bought. A combination of cereal, nuts, and sometimes dried fruit or chocolate, either bought pre-made or made at home by mixing ingredients yourself. Both versions circulated in neighborhoods. The store-bought version was convenient. The homemade version was special because it meant someone had taken time. Kids would eat it from paper bags while hanging out on the stoop or in the park. Chex Mix represented abundance and variety. In neighborhoods where meals might be repetitive out of economic necessity, Chex Mix, with its multiple textures and flavors, represented indulgence and care. The homemade versions were especially precious because they meant a family member had thought of the kids, had invested time and resources into a treat made specifically for them. 19. Slim Jims. A thin, stick-like jerky snack that was salty, smoky, and surprisingly substantial for its size. Slim Jims were for kids who thought of themselves as tough or cool. They weren't candy, they were serious snacking. You could make one last a surprisingly long time by slowly peeling the wrapper back and eating it gradually. Slim Jims represented a kind of masculine toughness and realness in snacking culture. They required no elaboration, no dressing up, no apologies. What you saw was what you got: salt, smoke, protein. In communities building identity through small choices, choosing a Slim Jim over a Twinkie was a statement about who you were or wanted to be. It was self-definition through consumption. 20. Nabisco Chips Ahoy. Cookies that came in a package and lasted seemingly forever without going stale. Chips Ahoy were lunchbox royalty. You could have cookies just like the kids in commercials. The package allowed for portion control, each cookie individually satisfying. Some kids would eat them slowly, savoring each one. Others would demolish the package within hours. Chips Ahoy represented entry into a consumer culture that had previously felt inaccessible. Kids in black neighborhoods could have the exact same cookies being marketed on television to white suburban kids. This wasn't a compromise or a cheaper alternative. It was the exact same product. That sameness meant something. It meant equality of access even if everything else wasn't equal. In small ways, through snacks like Chips Ahoy, kids participated in a larger culture and felt included in it. These 20 snacks weren't just food. They were the vocabulary of childhood community. They were the currency of friendship, the markers of special occasions, the small luxuries that made survival joyful. When money was tight, and for many families in these neighborhoods, money was always tight, these snacks represented creativity, resourcefulness, and the refusal to let scarcity steal joy. In the 1970s, Black kids creating their own culture, despite systemic exclusion, did it partly through snacks. What they ate, how they ate it, what it meant to them, these became the language of belonging. A bag of onions shared on the stoop was more than a snack. It was community. A Lik-M-Aid stick with its colors and its sweetness wasn't just a treat. It was proof that something good was accessible, affordable, and democratic. These snacks fed children's bodies and nourished something deeper. The sense that joy was theirs to claim, that small pleasures were still pleasures, that resourcefulness and imagination could transform the ordinary into the memorable. The snacks have changed. Some have disappeared entirely, their places taken by newer, flashier options. But the lesson remains. In times of scarcity and struggle, Black communities have always known how to make magic from whatever was available. And sometimes that magic tasted like Bazooka bubblegum, like the salt and smoke of a Slim Jim, like the rainbow of Lik-M-Aid on a tongue that was learning to taste the world.